All right, we're back, and this is the second semifinals. It's Australia versus South Africa. Historic in its own way because we know what happened the last few times they actually met during, the World Cup, especially going back to the 1999 World Cup. I was watching as a kid, sitting right in front of the TV, like this far from the screen, and I was completely losing my shit. I remember that time I was playing for my school and then just playing a lot of gully cricket, I guess. And it was crazy. Like I had tears in my eyes for South Africa. And it was not the only time. 92 we experienced a similar unfortunate incident. I was just in maybe prep school at that time. I was just starting to understand cricket and I was loving South Africa because that's probably the first match I saw, like a white ball match. It was probably South Africa and India or South Africa and England, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, coming back to this match, it's a low scoring one. It didn't come down to the wire like the last over, like every other IPL match, as if it was scripted. We all know it is. But anyway, let's not go there. And Australia just barely made it in this case. And I'm not sure if they're that confident about the final. But I want to just explore this like a little further. Okay, so let's get into like my top 10 moments or top 10 scenes during this match. And let's start with 10. Number 10, South Africa win the toss and bat. Okay, firstly, how are the teams winning the toss and losing that, this often during the World Cup? I remember, like, I think England made a terrible decision. Actually, it happened to England maybe more than twice, if I'm not wrong. But today was different. Like, it was overcast. The lights were on pretty early during the noon, like maybe like around 2, 3 o'clock, or maybe before that even. And I didn't understand the decision. Like, this is what Bavuma said during the toss. I'm just reading out the quote. It says the weather did come into consideration, but we looked at our strengths as a team. I'm not 100% fit, but I think it's got to be good enough. It's massive, not something I dreamt of coming into a semifinal, carrying hopes and aspirations of people back home. I don't want to think about it too much. We have a game of cricket to focus on. The rugby team sent us a heartfelt message this morning, and that's pretty much it. And then they're going to talk about like the changes where they brought Shamsi in, and good change actually. We'll see that why. I think it was all like they were all dependent on their batting first strength. In this case, it was QDK, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out for them. Like Bavuma was out pretty early on, and QDK, it just I think a lot of people are calling it like a very dumb dismissal, and I don't know what to say. I can't call it dumb. I don't play as much cricket as most of these people, but Cummins did really take a fantastic catch to dismiss Quentin de Kock. And after that, like just Rassi Van Edison didn't get a start, and just things went south. Now coming back to what Bavuma said, that brings us to the ninth moment for me. Bavuma wasn't fit. Like I know a lot, he gets a lot of shit for many things, but I really like Temba Bavuma's batting, and he's a really good fielder. I have seen enough catches by Temba that you just know he's a fantastic fielder on the especially in during these locations. But um, I was listening to one of these favorite analysts. His name is P Dog. Please watch him. He's on YouTube, and he was saying and that by the way, P Dog was a South African strategist for a very long time for the national team. He was saying there was a catch that Bavuma missed where he had to reach out, and I think I know which one he's talking about. It's the English catch where he had to dive ahead, and he was like, well, he actually missed that catch, or maybe he was like slightly short, right? And P Dog says that a fit Bavuma would have, right? That means fitness somehow affected his performance on the ground, and that's not a good. He even like got out for duck, so not a good thing either. Like Riza was actually playing really well, and he's been in form, and he's also a very attacking batsman from the top, right? And he could have been a good attacking opener. And he played two matches, and I think he got like a 50 plus score in one. So, or some 90 something, if I'm not wrong. I think that was the Mumbai match. And the second match he didn't really click. But either way, that's cause of concern. I wish Riza would have played, but Bavuma is the captain. He probably wanted to be there on the field with his team in such an important match. Completely understandable, but I wish things turned out different for South Africa this time. But that's number nine. Now we go to number number eight. Sometimes I feel like all these top moments like don't even matter. It just numbers just don't matter. I'm just listing out things that I like to. Sometimes they make sense. I don't know all the time because number eight is Quentin de Kock himself. I mean, this is it for this guy. He has been a fantastic ODI player, and he bows out of one day internationals for good. We won't see him in the 50 over format again. That is, if the 50 over format survives the way it is. If it changes, maybe he'll reconsider. But not everybody is Ben Stokes. Not everybody is Moin Ali. Not everybody is the England team. So I doubt he'll come back because I don't see a lot of retired players actually coming back to play. And somehow Ben Stokes thought it would work out for them because the way he called Moin Ali back to the ashes with a text message went viral as if the PR team wasn't doing all the work for them. Um, he thought he would just waltz in, come back to the team and perform he did. Ben Stokes is a fantastic player, but you can't come back and just do the deed, that too away from your country without any warm up matches, without any build up to the World Cup, not playing enough 50 overs matches at all. That is for the team. Ben Stokes didn't even touch the format for a year. So, not a year, sorry, more than a year, like 3, 4 years. And you can't expect them to just come in and perform. So that's what happened. But anyway, we digress. Coming back to this, I wish uh, Quentin de Kock, yes, he bows out of international one day internationals, and he could have extended his stay at this work if it wasn't for Josh Hazelwood. What an underrated bowler this guy. I wish we had honestly seen some of his hits. He hits so clean, so straight, and so crazy sometimes. I really loved watching Quentin de Kock bat. And he's sitting in the second place with 594 runs. On top is our very own Virat Kohli, of course. I'm not comparing both the players, but the stats have been interesting. They've both played 10 matches. And, in terms of not outs, Virat Kohli has three, Quinton has zero, because, of course, QDK is an opener. Like in terms of runs, Quinton de Kock scored 594. Virat Kohli is at 711. Cannot believe that. Like, just look at the difference. It's over 100 runs. Uh, and the highest score, Quinton de Kock had 174. Virat Kohli had 117. Averages are crazy. Like, Virat Kohli is at 101. His average in this World Cup is over 100 runs. Means you can expect him to score another century in the finals. I won't be surprised. Quinton de Kock is 59.4. Strike rate's pretty interesting. Quinton de Kock is higher, 107. I think that's the only place where he beats Virat Kohli. And yes, the hundreds. Quinton de Kock has 400s and no 50s. Virat Kohli has 300s and 5 50s and one duck. And even the sixes. Quinton de Kock has 21 sixes compared to Virat Kohli, who has just nine. And but he has 57 fours and Kohli has 64. Again, it's not a comparison, but just want to see what an explosive player Quinton de Kock was in this World Cup, and he is really going to be missed by the cricket fraternity and the fans. South Africa must be sad about this because they're really missing out on a star. I wish they would convince him to stay a little longer, even if he does, but I don't think we'll see this version of Quinton de Kock again. This World Cup has been a dream for this guy. Number seven. Okay, and number seven. Australian batting and just their top order to start has been fantastic. If it wasn't for Warner, who actually brings a lot more experience as an opener, and of course Travis Head just coming in and slamming runs, um, Australia would have crashed today, right? They actually wanted to attack, they attacked, and their plan worked. In 6 overs, they had 60 runs. That's when Warner got out. And he got out for like what, 29 runs in just 18 balls. Um, so the batting looks really good. Like if they carry this attacking approach to the next match, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Australia's top order and the batting, like as a whole, has been interesting to watch, right? Like I think they're getting into this attack mode to start with. They did that in several matches. Bangalore was one that you cannot forget. And all thanks to Warner. I think he doesn't get enough credit because he carries experience with him apart from his style of batting. And if it wasn't for Head and Warner, and especially Warner, Australia would have crashed it. Somehow they both wanted to attack. They were both attacking. It was until the sixth over, when they got the break, when South Africa got a break. And they were already 60. Warner was dismissed for 29 for just 18 balls. And 6 overs and 60 runs, they were already running, 10 per over. And but apart from that, like I mean, Marsh didn't have any luck today. Smith kind of just grazed around for some time. But Maxwell, we were really wanting to see another Maxwell miracle. We were all disappointed today. He had to fire today, like because wickets were falling and South Africa was slowly getting back into the game. He had to fire, but I thought he just got a little impatient and he fell for it. He fell for Shamsi's beautiful delivery. You can see that now. And I saw something similar with Kuldeep as well, when they were playing India in the first match. I think they showed that comparison during the commentary as well. But yeah, like the way Steve Smith got out, I'm like, why would you? Not just me, like everybody was like, that shot wasn't required. He was the only batsman. The way Steve Smith got out was just hilarious. As in, why would you play that shot? He was the only like strong specialist batsman, a middle order batsman at the crease at that point, and I wish he stayed a little longer because Steve Smith has to be one of my favorite batters in the world for sure. So I would love to see that guy bat. Um, yeah, I know a lot of people get a lot of hate for these guys, especially Warner, and it's whatever, understandable, I guess. But he actually did, do a good job, in the opening. And finally, somehow, for Australia and even for England, the bowlers are actually staying on the crease longer than the batsmen against attacks like this, right? Like this time, it was Cummins and Stark who actually led them to the win, and I was just hoping that yeah, it's completely deserved for Cummins to get like the final winning run, and he did. So yeah, it was a good shot in the end. Shut down the whole match, and they won it very comfortably. But they did have to weather that storm in between, where the spinners were getting wickets, and Coetzee was brilliant during the match. But yeah, that's that. So let's go to the next point. That's number six. So number six, the South African bowling here. Um, it's this spin pair was just they actually brought the whole they changed the whole game. There were so many points at which I thought like, okay, South Africa might actually be in for a win here. Shamsi and Maharaj finally, yeah, I think they got the pitch that they wanted because you could see them, not just them, even Makram as a matter. Maharaj was brilliant. I wish he plays more cricket. Like I know 50 over World Cup. I don't know when that's 2027. We don't know if he'll continue because I think he's already 33 or 34. And maybe the next T20 World Cup or Champions Trophy, which nobody seemed to care about. Either way, we'll get to see him during the tests in December against India. Cannot wait for that one. I will continue to review these test matches when they happen. Everyone seems to be playing very safe with Maharaj. As in, I even saw they played out even against India. I remember, I think it was Kohli and Shreyas. Like they played out Maharaj. They ensured that it was like they just got past Maharaj. Shamsi wasn't playing. I think he was. They played out Maharaj and then hit the rest of them. So everybody does actually think when they're facing a bowler like Maharaj. The only other the bowler I think who's comparable in that category was Kuldeep Yadav. He's the only other spinner who earned a lot of eyeballs this season. And of course Zampa, but Zampa is a different kind of bowler. But Zampa did get 22 wickets, but this match he didn't get any. There have been quite a few misses along the way, like in terms of fielding, some catch drops, some really close ones, some quick ones, especially that one where Klassen, it just went off the shoulder really quick. The Temba Bavuma one that we're talking about, where Inglis was just sweeping it and, it was too low. And just a few others, like here and there, like just fielding was good, but somehow it wasn't just working. I think most of them were just too short. I can't say that it was the team's fault. Like they were doing their best. They were fighting for it. Final thing. Um Final thing about the bowling. I don't understand why Bavuma held back Keshav Maharaj for so long. I think it's probably because of the thinking of, having the left arm wrist spinner can't bowl to a left-handed batsman. And Maharaj gets him in the first ball, right? So I think that changed Bavuma's mind. Then he continued to bowl spinners, and they held the ground for like very long. I think what the match ended in its 48th or 49th over, 48th over, yeah, 48th over, and I didn't think it would go for that long the way Warner and Travis had started. Yeah, so spinners, fantastic job. I wish they had come in earlier. Markram did come in earlier, to be fair. He did take a wicket, like I think in his first or second over. Okay, so number five, Gerald Coetzee. He is their youngest bowler. No one knew about him. Not a lot of people, at least I didn't. I did see him in one of the matches. I think when he toured India, he came along. But he's nailing those balls. Like he's such an accurate bowler for that age. In fact, he was a replacement to Andrik Noke. There's no comparison. Noke is faster. Noke is more accurate. Noke is just brilliant. I think Noke basically saved Delhi Capital's pride during the IPL. I feel like it was Noke, Ishan Sharma, and I think Warner just knew how to use them during the season. But anyway, we digress. Come back. He got a 2 for 47 to the English Yorker was perfect. Like probably every bowling coach says that, like nail it between the two toes, and that's exactly what happened. Just two toes, and it just came right in, knocked the wickets off. So really, really fantastic bowling. And he was clocking like 150 today in few balls. He's getting wickets almost every match. He's an angry young man, is very passionate. Like I don't see a lot of anger or a lot of passion from the South African bowlers. So it's nice to have this in the mix always. It's always nice to have one aggressive bowler. I miss the White Lightning, Alan Donald, when I say that. And like Jansen, I don't even see him express that much. Oh yeah, actually he does maybe during dismissals, but just has that stoic expression, I guess. Um, Kutsia can bat. He got a decent 19 runs. He did take like 38 balls, but come on, he's a bowler. Give him that. And the situations were. Um, I wish he also took that review, which like I think it's the ball just scrubbed his shoulder instead of the glove, and Miller was like, "Just take it, man. Just take it." He was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't believe in myself, I guess." And but that was unfortunate. I wish he stayed a little longer. They could have easily added 20 runs if he slogged a couple of sixes or fours. But really sad. He's definitely one of the standout young talents in this World Cup, and along with I think everyone's new favorite now, Rachin Ravindra, because because I think it's an amalgamation of two names. Like I don't remember, like Ram and Sita, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's that. So that's number five. Four. Okay. Stark and Hazelwood had really long spells today for Australia, which seemed interesting, but it also showed that they were relentless. They took advantage of the conditions, the weather conditions. Stark was getting a lot of swing even till like his last over of the spell, or maybe we saw some of that swing even in the 15th 16th over, I think. And it was a good day for the bowlers, but I feel like one of the most underrated white ball bowlers in the world right now has to be Josh Hazelwood. I saw him struggle. Like I saw his period, I think during Ashes he struggled, WTC, I don't remember how, but anyway, he did struggle during the Ashes, but that's red ball. But came back after injury, worked really hard, and now like today he got 1 wicket less than Cummins and Stark. They got three each. But the good part was Hazelwood has like three maiden overs. He had three maiden overs, and he gave away very little runs. And his accuracy, all of them good balls. I remember seeing this during the match. I tried to look up to see if I can find like the pitch map. I couldn't. By the time I edit this, if I find it, I'll. Anyway, that was that. And then Zampa struggled today. He didn't get any wickets. The pitch was giving a lot to spinners, but somehow Zampa couldn't do anything. Where Zampa should he give? Zampa gave away like 55 runs in 7 overs. Okay, so Zampa struggled today, went without a wicket, gave away 55 runs in just 7 overs. The pitch offered a lot to the spinners, but Zampa couldn't get anything. Instead, we had a new mustached part-time bowler named Travis Head who had a great match. He got two important wickets back to back. It was on a maybe it was chance, but whatever, got the job done, right? Like, and that was a good change. They were looking forward to Travis Head for this reason, right? Maxi and Travis, they kind of come in and bowl these overs and kind of give a little relief to the main bowlers, and sometimes just surprise the entire team with a couple of wickets. Okay, number three, Australia can field. They fielded like their life was dependent on it, as if the World Cup is dependent on it. They were all in the circle during the power play. I remember like a lot of boundaries being saved. I think Warren saved one, Labuschagne saved one, Head saved a couple. So I guess fantastic fielding. And Warner is always like leads from the front in terms of fielding. I remember in this match, was it the second match? Not against India, but like maybe a match after India where they dropped like 7 catches, and Warner was the first to take a good catch, running from like mid on and taking a catch. And today too, he took a very important catch. I think that was to dismiss Aiden Markram, and like he continues to do that at this age. I'm a big Warner fan, so you will keep hearing about compliments about this guy. I think the team is hungry when you look at them field. They just wanted it so, and two reasons, like I think one, it's when they're hungry. Two, I think something happened in the and they are ready to give everything for their captain, and mainly the captain, the guy who is leading from the front. I'm saying this because there was a lot of discussion about how Pat Cummins is not captain worthy person, but we'll come to that in a bit. But yes, compared to South Africa, there were some misfields. Close ones, can't call them misfields. Maybe just maybe just misfield. The Bavumas catch that we discussed, slightly short, dived, but just couldn't dig at anything. And I think in the process he got injured again. But anyway, that's number three, and now number two, Miller's 100. There's so many things to discuss, so much conversation around this whole semifinals, and everybody in their talk shows, post shows, half the time they're talking about India because it's Star Sports, I guess, or they make that much noise. But they completely, I feel like everybody, this is one of the most underrated knocks because of the losing side. Four is the joint third lowest score at the start of a men's ODI century scored at six or lower, like number six batsman or lower. I'll give you like the famous examples. At least one, I think, is no, Kapil Dev's 175 when that came in 1983 World Cup. The team was at 9 runs for 4 wickets. Nasser Hussain was 19 for 4, right? And then Neil McCallum, the team was 24 for 4, and then David Miller and Neil McCallum went on to score 121. But that's that, right? Like he is in the record books and so well deserved. Miller finally showed up and did exactly what he was supposed to do, and when the team needed it the most. So I'm very happy for David Miller. Like this IPL, he wasn't that great. Last year's IPL, he was a monster who would just come in and tonk a few with Tewatia. But it was a stunning knock. This was under pressure. It's a semi-finals and one of the most relentless bowling attack that you could think of in this World Cup. And he hits a six to bring in his 100. Not ordinary. I really expected Klassen to stay a little longer. He was doing well. In fact, probably Klassen is the reason that Zampa couldn't get any wickets because he completely disarmed him, butchered him, in fact, uh, butchered him even. And I remember like Klassen was hitting Zampa over his head and long on, long off, long on, long off, right? So, pretty unusual. Um, Zampa was doing really well apart from like the first two matches. He picked up his form, picked up a great momentum, and then suddenly Klassen appears out of nowhere in the semifinals and tonks. And you lose all confidence, I guess, or you lose your rhythm and no wickets, 7 overs for. I was really hoping that Klassen and Miller would just there. I didn't expect like over maybe like 270, 280, but at least 240 would have been a very competitive score, or 250 would have been a very competitive score, and the match would have played out very differently. But that's number two, and now we go to number one. Australia are still they're like a they're like a fort. You just can't break into this fort that and this is the stubborn fighting Australia we all know of and we all want to see playing against any team. They just don't give up, do they? As in, see, even among the professionals, I feel like the Australians are like total workhorses. They just uber professionals among the professionals, and you don't see many mistakes. Like they did start very slow. They started like as if they didn't want to be here, but I think after two or three matches they just picked up momentum, they picked up motivation, and then start seeing these amazing feats like Maxi, what he did, and today with the bowlers. Just to remind you, like a month ago from the match, they were at the bottom of after conserving, after getting served those two consecutive losses, they were at the bottom of the table. But like, I mean, see, I'm not comparing, but a lot of teams, in India included, even you see them completely shaken when something like that, like a loss or something goes wrong on the field. Look at yesterday, the first semi-final, right? Like they were rattled in between when Daryl Mitchell and Kane Williamson were back. So, but in this case, they somehow built themselves to reach the finals. That's mad work ethic. It's mental. No, like I mean, apart from like, of course, India is will be my favorite team because here I am. But at the same time, I feel like leaving the personal bias aside, Australia has to be my all-time favorite team any era. World Cup was only played 12 times. They've reached the World Cup final for the and they won it 5 times. How do you believe? Like that's just unbelievable. I think someone else was saying. Anyway, everyone doubted Pat Cummins' captaincy. I don't get it. I get it that he's not much of a talker. He's not too proud. He doesn't yell. He's not as aggressive as Ricky Ponting, as tactical as Steve Waugh or Mark Taylor was. But at the same time, like this guy is just is just he's just the quiet leader that goes unseen for most times because he has been at the crease as the last batsman, as the last person to hold the fort in many occasions. Like one was obviously the semi, and then you see he did that in Headingley at the Ashes, and at the same time with Maxi during the match with Afghanistan in this very World Cup. So he's doing such a great job as a bowler, and not just as a bowler but even as a batsman, which is not his forte, right? So I don't know what people are complaining about. I think he's doing a great job. Let's look at like what Pat Cummins did in the last year-ish. I didn't get a detailed one with dates, etc. But let's see. He retained the Ashes to away, not in Australia, but in England. They won 2-0. I mean, no, they didn't win. Sorry. They started winning the first two Ashes and then the first two matches. Sorry, and then I don't even want to get into this. The crowd was rowdy, affected everybody's mental health, especially Alex Carey, I guess. And after that, he hasn't been the same. But then they drew one, rain, and all of that. But he anyway, he still retained the right. He won the World Championship. Who, they met India in the finals. So and India lost the last World Cup meeting that they had with Australia in the finals. So let's see what happens. And again, they're in finals. I think it's just a brilliant record to have as a captain that all of this happened in the same year. And if you've seen the fielding, I think I was saying this before. It speaks so much about how much you respect the captain and their leader. And just look at them field in the power play. Go back to the highlights. Go back to the match. The team was on fire, so that means they were motivated, and the captain was doing something right. Pat Cummins, definitely one of the best captains that we have. I know a lot of people hate this team, like Australia, for several reasons. And that's why I actually love the team because they made their mistakes, they confessed, they paid the price, and they came back. Like any other team, they would be buried alive for this, and like they would never see the light of day, especially in sport, at least, right? Like in that. But the team came back. The team came back and they keep fighting. But look at them playing in this the World Cup. Like even though they started slow, they won like what 8 consecutive matches now out of 10. Yeah, they played 8. So first two they lost. So they won 8 consecutive matches. I know you'd say, well, it was not a thumping victory like they did with India, of course, but they still fought, and yeah, they put a break on all the big teams on big tournaments. So we have to wait and see what happens in the final. My gut says, or just looking, not even the gut, just looking at the numbers, looking at the teams, it's clearly India. But I hope that Australia put up a fight. I really hope they put up a fight and to make the match as exciting as it could be. So, yep, I'll see you for the finals.